Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to solve a practice exam and I want to show you how to approach each questions from chapters 7, 8, 10, 11, 12 and 21 which are included in the second exam. So let's read this question. On the graph, Q represents the quantity of plastics and P represents the price of plastics. Since we have a higher cost here, higher cost curve, that means we have negative externality in the market. When there is negative externality, social cost is higher than private cost. So private cost represents the cost of production to the firm. Social cost represents private cost plus external cost to the people, to the third parties. That's why it's higher. Okay, so let's read the question. If 325 units of plastics are produced, so 325, I believe it's here, and consume, then what is the outcome? So if we are here 325, we are not reaching the socially optimum outcome because socially optimum outcome is here, intersection of the demand curve and social cost curve with a lower production of the good and with a higher price. So therefore this is the outcome that we have is the market, free markets outcome. So the right answer is equilibrium has been reached. In this market equilibrium has been reached. But it's not the socially optimum outcome. Question 2. Suppose the demand for peanuts increases. What will happen to the producer surplus in the market? So if the price increases, assuming that the cost doesn't change for each producer, just think about this way, right? This is the supply curve, this is the demand curve. And now we are here, right? This is the producer surplus, but because of the increase in demand, we are now here, higher demand curve, price increases. Look what happens. The producer surplus increases by this new area. Okay, so when the price increases, producers are earning more per unit and the cost doesn't change. Therefore, producer surplus, which is the difference between price and willingness to sell, which is the cost, it's going to increase. So therefore the right answer is A. Let's go to the next one. Good X is a given good. When the price of X increases, the consumer will consume more X. So that is the difference between given goods and other goods. Given goods, when the price increases, demand increases. So we have a panel here. Let's make this. So here we have panel A, panel B, and panel C. And the question is asking which graph represents a market with positive externality. So for positive externality, social benefit is greater than private benefit. So therefore the demand curve is to the right, shifted to the right. I mean social value curve is higher than the private demand curve. The reason is because social benefit, collective benefit is much more than the individual demand curve. So for that reason, this is with no externalities, no externality. This is with negative externality because the social cost is higher than the private cost. And this is with positive externalities because social value is higher than the private demand curve. So for that reason, the right answer is panel C. Question 5. So here we have a stepwise supply curve. And if the good price is 500, let's do that. Let's draw the price curve. This is $500. We need to calculate the producer surplus. So we have one producer surplus here, right? So this is one rectangular, another rectangular. And so we need to calculate the area 1, area 2, area 3 and sum them up. Why? Because producer surplus is the difference between price and supply curve. So area 1, here we have 400, here is 1. So area 1 is 400, 400 times 1. Area 2 is 200. Area 3 is 100. So if we sum all these up, which is 700, is the total producer surplus. Next question. Dawn's Bridal Boutique is having a sale on evening dresses. The increase in consumer surplus comes from the benefit of the lower prices. So to answer this question, we need to first visualize it, right? So this is the demand curve. And let's say price is here, P1. And then we know that the consumer surplus is between demand curve and the price, this area, right? Let's assume the prices go down to P2. Now the consumer surplus increases, right, from this area to including additional consumer surplus. But we have two reasons why we have an increase in consumer surplus. First of all, existing consumers who are here having more consumer surplus, and also because of the lower prices, we have new customers here entering to the market. So they are not willing to pay P1, but they are willing to pay P2. So this area, as you see, let me draw this. This area is because of an increase in consumer surplus of existing consumers. This area is because of the new consumers. So the right answer is both existing consumers who now get lower prices on the gowns they were already planning to purchase, and the new consumers who enter the market because of the lower prices. Question 7. So you see here now the indifference curves. The higher the indifference curves, the more utility a consumer gets, okay? Which of the following statement is not correct? Let's see. Bundles on indifference curve 3 are preferred to bundles on indifference curve 1. That's correct. 3 is preferred to 2, 2 is preferred to 1, also 3 is preferred to 1. The consumer is indifferent between bundles A and E, which is not correct. The consumer is indifferent with the bundles on the same indifference curves like A, B, and C, but not on different indifference curves. So this is a wrong one. The consumer is indifferent between bundles B and C. That is correct. The consumer prefers bundle C to bundle D. That is correct. So the wrong answer is B. The price of X is $20 and the price of Y is $5 and the consumer income is $40. Which point represents the consumer's optimal choice? So the optimal choice is the intersection of indifference curves and the budget constraint. Okay, so we have options like A, because it's the intersection of indifference curve and the budget constraint, B, and also C. But we need to check if consumer can afford to buy A, B, and C. So for A, consumer is buying 1X and 4Y. 1 times 20, 4 times 5. This is 20, this is 20, 40. So our budget is 40. So A seems like the optimal choice. But let's see B. For B, consumer buys 2X and 2Y. 2 times 20, 2 times 5. It's above the budget. The sum of this consumption is above the budget. So B cannot be an optimal. Similarly, C cannot be optimal. Therefore, the right answer is A. Let's see this question. Sellers whose costs are less than the equilibrium price are represented by which line segment? So this is the price, right? And sellers who has costs lower than price are here. There is one seller here. Cost is this much. There is another seller here, right? And they're all sellers until point C. So therefore, the right answer is BC. Suppose the government imposes a $10 per unit tax on a good. $10 is here from this part to this part. The length is 18 plus 8, which is $10. Okay. And the question is asking, what is a deadweight loss? So with the tax, consumers are paying $18. So this is consumer surplus. And producers are receiving $8. So therefore, this is producer surplus. And the difference, this B and D, is the tax the government collects, 10 times the amount. And C and F are the deadweight loss, this triangular. The reason is simple. Because there are here consumers who would like to pay the market price, but because the price is 18, they don't buy. And there are sellers here whose cost is less than $12, but because now they are receiving $8, they can't cover their costs, they don't want to sell. Therefore, the deadweight loss is C plus F. Next question. You and your best friend want to hire a professional photographer to take pictures of your two families. The table shows the cost of 4 potential sellers in the local photography market. You and your friend agree to offer $500 for each session. So your willingness to pay is $500, but Kobe's cost is $6, so he's not going to do the job. LeBron cost is $700. Therefore, Kevin and Steve are okay to accept your offer. And if Kevin and Steve accepts, then the producer's surplus, the total one, is from Kevin, you have 500 minus 450, 50. From Steve, it's 500 minus 4, which is 100. If you sum this to 150. So the right answer is Kevin and Steve, 150. Next question. Which of the 3 tax systems is progressive? For progressive tax system, the percentage of tax paid increases as your income increases. So let's see, for tax system A, if you pay 10,000 out of 50,000 income, then your tax is 20%, right? How do I find? 10K divided by 50K times 100 is 20%. And if you pay $25,000 out of 100,000, then your tax is 25%. And if you pay 80,000 out of 200,000, then it's 40%. As you see, the tax percentage increases as your income increases. So tax system A is for sure a progressive. Let's look at the other ones. So tax system B, you pay 50%, 25,000 out of 50,000. This is 30%, and this is 20%. So this is an example of regressive tax. The percentages are going down. Let's look at this one. 10,000 is 20%, 20,000 is 20%, 40,000 is 20%. That's a proportional tax rate, okay? So the right answer is tax system A. Let's check the next one. Which of the following statement is not correct? Private markets tend to overproduce products with negative externalities. That's correct because they don't count the external cost to the production. Private markets tend to underproduce products with positive externalities. That's correct because they don't count the social benefit, external benefit to the third parties. Private parties can bargain to efficient outcomes even in the presence of externalities. We learn it through the Cauchy theorem, one of the discussion assignments, that they can bargain. Private parties are usually more successful in achieving efficient outcomes than government policies. This is not correct. That's why we have the chapter of externalities. A neighborhood voted to develop a vacant lot into a vegetable garden. All of the neighbors worked the land and sowed the seeds. A few neighbors picked and ate the produce before the other neighbors had the chance. So which of the following could solve this example of tragedy of commons? So if area is common, it's people's tendency to consume more because it's free. Therefore, we can solve this tragedy of commons by dividing lot into equal size of plots. So each family can plant and harvest only on their plot. And the neighborhood continues to work the land and sow the seeds as a group, but sells all of the produce to willing buyers. This both can work because now you're introducing free market solution to the problem of common area. This is not correct. Why you're going to stop gardening on this land? Because there's no equitable. There is an equitable way of distributing the land. Therefore, both A and B are possible solutions in this example. So the vertical distance between points A and B represents a tax in the market. So the tax amount is again $10. 16 to 6, it's $10. When the tax is imposed in the market, what is the consumer surplus? So consumers are going to pay this number, right? No longer they are paying 10. They are paying $16 after the tax. So the consumer surplus is this area, below the demand curve, above the price. So we need to calculate this triangular area. The size of the height of triangle is 22 minus 16, which is 6. And the base of the triangular is here, this size, which is 300. So 6 times 300 divided by 2 is the triangular area. And therefore it's 900. So the right answer is 900. And the question 16 is about regressive tax. Regressive tax is the tax rate that you pay less when you have more income. So this is proportional tax. This is progressive tax. This is regressive. And this is regressive. Why? Because the percentages are going down. So therefore, the right answer is A or D. Question 17. Goods that are rival in consumption include both. So that means when you consume more, the amount diminishes as you consume more. Private goods are like that. Just think about a can of Coke. When you drink more, the amount diminishes, right? And also common resources are like that, because especially natural resources, if you overconsume them, their amount is diminishing. Therefore, common resources and private goods are rival in consumption. Public goods and club goods are not rival. Question number 18. Suppose that in 2020, the average citizen's federal tax bill is $12,466 and total federal spending is $10,824 per person. So this government has a budget surplus because government spending per person is lower than the revenue government gets from that per person. Question 19. Which area represents the increase in producer surplus when the price rises from P1 to P2 due to new producers entering to the market? So price is rising P1 to P2, and we have two areas, area 1, area 2. So the existing producers are getting, right, these are the existing ones, they are okay to produce at P1, getting a higher, right, getting a higher producer surplus. But there are new producers here, new producers. They're actually getting an additional producer surplus. Therefore, the right answer is DHG. DGH. Question 20. When Ryan has an income of 2,000, he consumes 30 units of good A and 50 units of good B. After Ryan's income decreases to 1,500, he consumes less of good A, right, 23, and more of good B. Which of the following is statement correct? So when your income decreases, you consume less of normal goods. When your income decreases, you consume more of inferior goods. So for that reason, good A is a normal good, good B is an inferior good. Which of the following good is rival in consumption and excludable? So private goods are rival in consumption and excludable. Fireworks, it's a public good. They are free. You can't exclude anyone. You can go watch anywhere you want. National defense is a public good. A box of sparklers is an example of a private good because you have to buy. When you buy, you exclude people and your consumption diminishes the amount available. Let's look at this question. This graph represents the tobacco industry without any government intervention. So no government intervention. This market is going to function as the intersection of private cost and demand, which in this case 42 units and $1.6 of the price. Which quantity represents the social optimum for this market? Socially optimum includes the social value and private costs. So this is the point. Market equilibrium is here, socially optimum is here. So therefore Q3 is the right answer. Question 24. Jack and Diana each buy pizza and paperback novels. Pizza costs $3 per slice and paperback novels $5. Jack has a budget of $30 and Diana has a budget of $15 to spend on pizza and paperback novels. Which consumers can afford 5 slices of pizza and 3 paperback novels? So 5 slices of pizza is $15 and 3 paperback is $15, which is $30. So we see that Diana doesn't have a budget, only Jack has. Therefore, Jack only is the right answer. Which of the following are tax? Both corporate profits and dividends are taxed, so it's like a double taxing. There are 4 homes along Belmont Circle, which surrounds a small plot of land. The land currently has no trees and 4 owners, Adams, Benitez, Chen, and Davis, are considering the idea of contributing to a pool of money that will be used to plant up to 4 trees. The table represents their willingness to pay. That's the maximum amount that each owner is willing to contribute toward each tree. So we need to find the total benefit to all these 4 people and compare that with the cost. Cost of plant, each tree is 300. For the first tree, total cumulative benefit, which is 100 plus 115 plus 120 plus 90, for sure greater than the cost. So first tree is going to be planted. Let's calculate the second tree. The total benefit to all 4 residents is 50 plus 110 is 160, 270 plus 50, 320, which is greater than 300. Therefore, the second tree will be planted. Third tree, 20 plus 100 plus 80 plus 30 is less than 300. Therefore, third tree and fourth tree are not going to be planted. So the right answer is 2. Suppose the government imposes a tax of P prime to P triple prime. So this is the tax. The producer surplus before the tax. So before the tax, we are here. Okay. This is the equilibrium price. So the producer surplus is the area below the price above the supply curve, which is L, Y, and M. After tax is different because now producers are getting this price, therefore it's only M. Suppose the government imposes a $10 per unit tax on a good. $10 should be here, 18 to 8, right? This is $10. The government collects the tax revenue. So, okay, this is A is consumer surplus, J is producer surplus, B plus D is the tax, and deadweight loss is C plus F. The vertical distance between points A and C represents a tax in the market. Okay, the imposition of tax causes the price paid by buyers. So, price was paid before the equilibrium, 600, but because of the tax now, consumers paid 800. So buyers' price paid increases from 6 to 8. Each of the following are characteristics of a typical indifference curve map, except indifference curves cannot cross. That's correct. Moving northeast, so these are indifference curves, right? Moving northeast, increase the utility. That's correct. Points on the same indifference curve yield equal utility. That's correct. The axis represents levels of utility for each of the good. No, it's the bundle. Okay, so for that reason, this is not correct. Tom walks Bethany's dog once a day for $50 per week. Bethany values this service $60, while the opportunity cost of Tom's time is $30. The government places a tax of $35 per week on dog walkers. After that tax, what is the total surplus? Total surplus is actually 0 because they are not going to get into that transaction. The reason is, if you add just here $30 cost plus $35 tax, this is Tom's cost, it's $65 already, which is this price is higher than the maximum willingness of Bethany, which she values $60 maximum. Therefore, this transaction is not going to happen. Tom is not going to accept anything less than 65, and Bethany doesn't want to pay more than 60. So the total surplus will be 0 because this transaction is not going to happen. So the downward sloping line on the figure represents a consumer's budget constraint. If the price of CD is here, $12, what is the consumer's income? So point D represents if this consumer only buys CDs with the entire income. So if $12 is per CD times 20 is going to give us the entire income of the consumer, which is $240. At the consumer's optimum, so this is an important point you need to know. This is the budget constraint and this is the indifference curve. So as you see, this intersection is the optimum point. And at that intersection, slope of indifference curve is equal to slope of budget constraint. So therefore, 33B. So these are the solutions to the sample practice exam. Thank you for watching.